Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. All praises to the Most High Yah for letting us all have the chance to get together one more time. Talk about this week is something that's very, very near and dear to my heart. Talk about it a lot, but hopefully that means it'll sink in. This is all about loving yourself and guarding yourself against things that go on, the elements, things that happen in the world, man. Just being smart, being on guard. All parts of loving yourself. Let's get into the scriptures. Start somewhere real familiar, but we're going to go straight to the Good News translation of it this time. Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 verses 20 through 22. Good News translation, as we said. Take advantage of opportunities, but guard yourselves against evil. Don't underrate yourself. Verse 21. Humility or being humble deserves honor and respect, but a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. Verse 22. Do not let others have their way at your expense. Do not bring on your own ruin by giving up your rights. And there's so many things that could apply to, but we just going to keep it general. You use where it applies. Use as necessary. Apply where needed. Like they say with topical stuff when you cut yourself or whatever. If there's one thing I want everybody who watches these videos to take away from them, besides, of course, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, which is fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. Because that's don't get too much more important than those in my book. Or in any book, for real. But outside of that, man, my personal mission, thing that I learned from experience, the thing that's nearest and dearest in my heart, is that a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. Just like it says in this right here, we just read Sirach 4, verse 21. It said this is something that, I could tell you firsthand about all day long. I sit here and I prepare, like the scriptures say, prepare what you're going to say and then you will be heard. But I could sure enough sit here and talk to y'all probably for a couple hours with nothing written down and tell y'all all the dumb and stupid things that I did and all the crazy situations that I ended up in because I had a low opinion of myself, and it led to sin, it led to heartbreak, it led to a whole lot of things. Like, matter of fact, I'll tell y'all this, I'm bald-headed right now. Not by choice, but by force, because I sat there and week in and week out, I wanted everybody to scream for me when they saw me or whatever. So I used to sit there and refresh my perm and do the stuff in my head. And I'm not no licensed nobody to be putting nothing in nobody's head. I sit there and perm my head and get cornrows a certain way and just pull and keep getting the same ones over and over because I wanted a certain response from people. I wanted just evoke a certain emotion and a certain response when I showed up on the scene. And it was cool. But I tell you what, me being me and me loving myself, I get a way better response now however I show up, as opposed to back then showing up. Because a lot of times what they say, when you're too needy and you need something to happen to you bad, a lot of times it won't happen. And when you remove yourself from that and you're not even thinking about it, that's when you get it, what it was that you was looking for. At least that's how it usually works for me. Put my head back on. Y'all don't got to look at my chrome dome the whole time I'm talking, but I just was showing it to make a point. But yeah, just chasing after people, period. Females, people that I wanted to be my friends, people that I wanted to be in relationships with, people I wanted to do business with, just chasing after them and not even realizing what I brought to the table, what I had to offer, but just thinking that it was all about these people and all about what they had to offer and stuff like that, and putting them on a pedestal. It's a quote, one of my favorite quotes. It says, I got it from one of the dating coach guys online. While we talking about that, shout out and rest in peace to one of the best, who I still got their audio books and still sit and learn from him different dynamics in life and how dealing with people and stuff like that. The creator of Mode 1, Mr. Alan Roger Curry. Salute, sir. Respect, sir. And may he rest in peace, man, for all the things that he taught myself and a lot of other brothers out there that wouldn't have knew the things that we know now if it wasn't for him. Much respect to him, man. For real, from the heart. But yeah, man, just chasing after people and trying to be cool, trying to be accepted, wanting to be a part of the quote unquote in crowd or whatever the case may be, whatever they might call it now. You know, these slangs and terms change every other day. But never took the time to know myself and love myself, and figure out what it was that I brought to the table that somebody might want from me. While I'm thinking about what I had to gain from other people, not thinking about all the things that people can gain from just being in my presence. And that's not no arrogant, nothing cocky. Everybody should feel that way about themselves because the Most High gave each and every one of us a gift or multiple gifts. Like his scripture said that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. So it's like it's nothing wrong with giving other people their flowers or giving them their respect or whatever the case may be. But never forget that the Most High made you special too. And you don't let other people forget that when they just try to use you and take you for granted and just use you to get what they want out of you and you don't get anything out the deal. Like a good friend of mine, like a brother to me, and my brother the Sleepster, used to tell me all the time back in the day, fair exchange is no robbery. If you leave, long as both parties, whoever the parties may be, like I said, a lot of stuff I learned from chasing at the girls. So this is what he was talking about, but this same thing could apply in other parts of your life also. He said fair exchange is no robbery. The two parties come to the table, as long as both parties leave the table with a smile on their face, it's all good. But when one party leave with a smile and the other party still leave feeling empty and unfulfilled and feeling sad, something wrong with that picture. That's not a fair exchange. Therefore, it's robbery. Even you've been robbed. Sometimes it's financially, sometimes it's spiritually, sometimes it's emotionally, however it might go. As long as everybody got what they wanted out the deal, that's a good deal. But when somebody didn't get what they wanted out the deal and the other person leaving with a smile on their face and the other one leaving depressed or sad or empty or whatever the case may be, something wrong with that picture. And if that's you, the one that's walking around with the short end of the stick, and that happens all the time, you need to do something different. Even your actions, your thoughts, all that. You need to reboot. Start off, turn the system off and turn it back on. But they say most things work if you turn them off and turn them back on. That's why we get to reset on the Sabbath. Get to turn off so then we can turn back on and be of some use to ourselves and everybody else throughout the week. But we got to get the Most High his time. And what he asks us to do, he don't ask so much. He asks us to rest our bones. Here's some good word. Don't do the things that we do on a regular day. Keep it sanctified. Keep it holy. I don't think that's much to ask for. And the recharge and the rejuvenation that he gives us in return, can't pay for it. But yeah, man, I veered off of the intended topic a little bit. Let me try to reel it on back in. But yeah, man, like I was saying, just being naive. Like this is a saying in Hebrew that I got from a video I watched years and years ago. Say your name is your breath. And sometimes what your name is has something to do with what your character is. Not sometimes, but most of the time. And green, my dad told me when he was in the hospital one time, one of his doctors told him that like green means wealth and land and, like good produce and stuff like that. When you think about trees, that evergreen trees and stuff like that. But also on the flip side, green can mean, this is from the Urban Dictionary, so if you say someone is green, you mean that they have very little experience at life or at a particular job. Synonyms: inexperienced, new, innocent, raw. I like raw. Raw is good. That just means just unbridled, just ugh. But sometimes you do gotta put a little cut on it. But let's look into innocent. Innocent is one of those words like nice where everybody think it's just a compliment, but sometimes it can have a little hidden meaning. Check this out. Innocent, a pure, guileless, or naive person. While pure and guileless are both compliments, like we see pure so many times, we know that's a good thing. Guileless, you look in Psalm 32:2, and they talk about blessed is the man in whose spirit there is no guile, there's no deceit, there's no trickery. But naive is not a compliment. It's almost like the word nice when we looked it up and we found out that the original meaning of nice was like stupid, gullible. Let's get into this one. Naive is an adjective of a person or action showing a lack of experience or judgment. And everybody, y'all let us say, don't judge, you're not supposed to be judging no way. Shut up. You better judge. Or if y'all want to call it discernment or all that, that's cool too. All I know is you better have some of it about yourself to where as though you can look at the situation and you can tell something ain't right. You can be around a person, you can tell something ain't right, or else you gonna get got a whole lot. Bars. Not really, but hey, it rhyme. But yeah, man. I remember tell y'all one story about myself. I sat there, I had a Coogee vest for my graduation from high school. My parents got it for me. I remember Coogee sweaters was a big thing back in them days. Y'all think about Biggie Smalls and all them. But everybody that had money had Coogee sweaters. Like the dudes that used to go to my school. A lot of the dudes that was getting money back in them days, man, they all had their Coogee sweaters and they ain't had no problem getting the girls. Like they really ain't even had to say nothing. I seen guys go from being considered lame and not getting no play, but they show up with that Coogee sweater on. All of a sudden, you start hearing girls say their name in that nice, sweet way, and start seeing them at the school with somebody up against the lockers with them and all that old type of stuff, man. So I wanted me one. See if it'll work for me. I ain't gonna tell y'all the story about the fake one that I had got from Cookies, and it happened to be the one on the commercial, so everybody pretty much knew that, and I got clowned that day. But to make up for that, my folks, my mom and dad, worked hard and was able to get me the sweater vest summertime. So a little less material, a little less easy on the pockets, but either way it had to get paid for it. And I thank them for what they went through and did to be able to get it for me. They hard work that they did to get it for me. And y'all, I ain't even get to wear that sweater once. My dumb self, my naive self, met somebody who's a friend of somebody who I considered a friend, and they talked to me about how they had some type of program coming up or some family engagement or whatever it was. I don't even remember. And they were asking could they wear my sweater for that engagement. And me being gullible, like my ex used to call me, I told y'all that story before. I let them wear it. And I graduated from high school in 1994. This is 2022. I ain't seen hide or hair that sweater or that person since. So that just lets you know what they say: before you do anything, look into it. A wise man looks well into his ways. The simple passes on and is punished. I passed on like, man, here you go. Just bring it back to me in a couple days. I got punished. Still ain't seen that sweater. So be wise, man. Look into stuff. Don't just give people stuff. Don't just agree to stuff just because you want to be in the in crowd, because you don't want nobody to think, oh, you funny acting. You ain't funny with your stuff. Why you act like that? So you better protect your stuff. It might be all you got or all you got coming. My parents worked hard to get that. They worked hard anyway, but they made a sacrifice. That was probably at least $150, $200. It ain't nothing to sneeze at, especially for somebody that ain't working. Me, I couldn't have got it. And I just gave it, pretty much practically gave it away. Just out of being gullible and just out of having a low opinion of myself. I'm like, man, well, if I'm cool with everybody and everybody says I'm a cool person, then maybe things will work out in my favor. And that's what I did, just wanting to be cool. Wanting to be, accepted into the in crowd. That guy seemed pretty cool. Who I let hold the sweater. Look where it got me. But yeah, man, let's keep on going. I'm not going to go into the countless, dinners that I bought and ended up with the young lady taking home a Dougie bag, probably to give some nourishment and stamina to somebody else to finish out the rest of the night on my dime, and I went home by myself. But hey, man, that's what happens when you have that low opinion of yourself. You start chasing people rather than gravitating to the people who really like you and who really, would chase after you for real. But you don't even see them because it's a song by brother, shout out to him if you happen to see the video, brother Donnie, one of my favorite singers. He was signed to Motown back in the day, and he's a good brother, man. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. He said, you got your back turned to me. You searching for the love of somebody else. They got their back turned to you. They searching for the love of somebody else. And the suggestion is turn around. But if y'all turn around, y'all might get what y'all really need, what you really was coming there for, what you really was looking for. But when you so much into people pleasing and you don't even realize what you had to bring to the table, all your great attributes, all you do is just chase after other people and try to belong, try to fit in, So, yeah. Being on both sides of the coin is what taught me, though, when I finally did wake up and see that I was appreciated. And I felt ashamed. What they say, once you grow, you'll be disgusted by some of the things that you used to be attracted to. That's basically the point I'm at now. I just look at certain situations and certain things that I allow myself to get into, and I just almost want Earl for real. Like, like you thought that was cool, you thought that was slick, you thought that was okay. You let that slide. You ain't say nothing in this situation. You ain't do nothing in that situation. You ain't remove yourself. But hey, hindsight is always, pretty much always, almost always 2020. Always easy to look back at a situation once you've overcome it. But at that time that you're going through it, some of the best lessons, I say it again, I learned through pain. And my job, my reason for coming and presenting this information is if the next somebody coming up and going through a similar situation or going through something that can resonate to it, to not make the mistakes that I made. Being as though I don't have any physical children, not that I know of anyway. Nobody told me nothing. I better not come out with no more records. Somebody probably will find them and bring them out to woodwork, but as now just me being a regular 9 to 5 worker, ain't nobody bringing nothing my way. But I don't have any physical, but anybody who can learn the same information, this is the information I pass down here, is the information I would pass down if I did have an heir or a seed, that's just to help people to not make the same mistakes that I made. And if you have made them already, to maybe help your rebound time, your recovery time to be a little quicker than mine was. And I try to do that with the wisdom that we get out of the scriptures for real. What they say, a wise man learns from the experiences of others. A fool learn from having to make their own mistakes and having to mess up their own self. So basically, I was that fool, so y'all don't have to be. Joe went through that, so you don't have to go through that. Shout out to the original man that said that. I just threw my name in there. The choice is up to you. Bottom line is this. I spent 12 years of my life, or maybe a little more, doing something that I hated because I thought that was what I wanted at first. But then once I figured out it wasn't what I wanted, I just didn't want to mess up anything for anybody else. And then I ain't want anybody to have a bad opinion of me and stuff like that. So I just hung in there. Just took all the bumps and bruises, took all the punishment that came along with it, just because I was worried about how everybody was going to feel about me. And then I remember this one guy, shout out to him, my brother Marty, from a group called the Choir Boys. It was a gospel group that used to perform with me on my gospel shows. And I remember telling him all of what was going on, and he was like, yo, would you rather, I said, man, I just don't want everybody to be mad at me. He's like, yo, would you rather people be mad at you or would you rather God be mad at you? And when he said that, it resonated so heavy with me that I was like, man, guess what? That's when that day, I typed up my letter of resignation and emailed it off to everybody. And that was the end of that. In my eyes, other people is never over. People want to bring you back the way you came from already. But as far as I'm concerned, it was over that day when I sent that. And my new part of my life began, And it's still what they say. I'm still not where I need to be. What the scriptures say, not as though I have already obtained, but this one thing I do, forgetting that which is behind me and reaching out for that which is before me. So it's like I ain't got all the way where I'm supposed to be at. But what it say, I may not know where I'm supposed to be, but I know where I'm not supposed to be. So it's like what they say, the thing about moving forward, it's just like when looking back no longer entices you or no longer feel a certain way to you, that's when you know you're moving in the right direction. And in order for me to know I'm moving in that right direction, I had to do what I did already. So it's not so much of a thing of regrets. Well, there are regrets. Regrets is that you let it go on as long as it did go on. But still, the experience is invaluable. And at the same time, some people who might be looking right now wouldn't even know anything of me to look if I didn't go through those experiences. But all I ask is moving forward, let me be a co-pilot, co-navigator or something, moving forward to better, and not as opposed to the other side of people trying to reach out to me and minister to me about moving backwards, because that's something we don't do. I can't dance. I ain't Michael Jackson. I ain't doing no moonwalking. All my motion need to be forwards. Straight like that. And this ain't nothing that I had written down for real. This is all from the heart, man. So I think we're going to probably revisit next week because it's a little long. We at 20. We're going to revisit next week and we're going to try to stick to the script. But that's just my word for y'all, for everybody for this week. Let me read these real quick and then we'll leave like that. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus 10 and 28 and 29. Also from the Good News Translation. Close it off like this. My child, Keep your self-respect, but remain modest. Value yourself at your true worth. Verse 29. There is no excuse for a person to run himself down. No one respects a person who has no respect for himself. So respect yourself. First off, fear and love the Most High. Then respect yourself, man. And it'll definitely change the way you act and interact with others. It's like we said in Sirach 4 and 21, humility deserves honor and respect, but a low opinion of yourself leads to sin. So when you don't love yourself, you'll do anything to fit in or to quote unquote be down or be cool or whatever. That ain't what we love. That ain't what we doing over here. So I'm going to leave it at that. Much love. Most High willing, we get together again real soon. Shalom.